Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar expected to travel to China. Several health sector benefits to be derived as nurses and midwives registration bill passed. And defending Panorama champs Petrotrin Phase 2 Pangrove preparations assist with securing a spot in this year's Panorama finals. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Kamla Persad-Bissessar is scheduled to pay a state visit to the People's Republic of China next Monday upon the invitation of China's President, His Excellency Xi Jinping. The trip is expected to be one that further solidifies the relationship that exists between both countries.
Monday, February 24th, would be a historical day as Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar SC, accompanied by a Trinidad and Tobago delegation, would pay a state visit to the People's Republic of China. The Honourable Prime Minister was invited to China last year when she hosted a visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping, the first such visit by a Chinese president to the English-speaking Caribbean. The visit will coincide with the celebration of 40 years of diplomatic relations between Trinidad and Tobago and China. Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar noted that several significant developments are expected to come from the visit that would strengthen the relationship between both republics, including the signing of a number of MOUs.
MOU between the General Administration of Sport of the People's Republic of China and the Ministry of Sport of Trinidad and Tobago, cooperation in the field of sport. MOU between the governments of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the People's Republic of China concerning cooperation in energy and energy-related matters. A bilateral air services agreement between the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the government of the People's Republic of China. The protocol between the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the government of the People's Republic of China concerning the posting of a Chinese medical team to work in Trinidad and Tobago.
Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar said in addition there would be discussions on cooperation with respect to agriculture and that she would visit the Agriculture University in Beijing. The University of the West Indies is expected to play an important role in exploring the avenues relating to this agriculture cooperation. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has requested that 3 other areas be explored for partnership between Trinidad and Tobago and China.
Those 3 areas are specific areas. One, in relation to tourism. I've asked His Excellency to explore the possibility of partnering with the Chinese government to build a hotel in Trinidad and Tobago and or to consider partnering with us for the development and further expansion and modernization of the Magdalena Grand Hotel in Tobago. I know the Chinese government is at this point in time building a hotel in the Bahamas, a 2,200-room hotel in the Bahamas. We already have a hotel which can be upgraded and expanded. What this will do is, of course, increase tourism into Tobago, create jobs in Tobago, and I see that as a project that will be worthy of partnering with the government of China. The second area I've asked His Excellency to convey in advance of my attendance there is for the development of Trinidad and Tobago as an innovative hub with respect to technology. And the third area, remind me, what is that?
School students exchange.
Student exchange program whereby Chinese students can come to Trinidad to learn English. And of course, Trinidad students can learn, is it Mandarin? Mandarin,
Yes.
learn Chinese language.
The Prime Minister was visited on Friday by the Chinese ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago at the Parliament building to finalize aspects of the upcoming trip. His Excellency Wang Jingyang, with the use of a translator, explained the significance of the state visit.
This visit will be very significant because it is the first one after our President Xi Jinping's visit to your country, and also it is at the occasion of the 40th anniversary of the bilateral relations, and also it is the first visit by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago within 30 years.
Yes.
The Honourable Prime Minister would use the opportunity to open an embassy in China for the first time. Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar is expected to depart Trinidad and Tobago on Sunday, February 23rd and return to this country on February 28th. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
When we come back, bright prospects for the health sector. Stay with us. The prospects for a health sector with a high standard in Trinidad and Tobago appear to be bright with the many developments under the current administration. Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar has identified 3 focus areas for the improvement of the crucial sector.
In our conversations with the public as we go across Trinidad and Tobago, a major priority area that needs improvement is the health sector.
Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar SC, in her contribution in the lower house on Friday during the Nurses and Midwives Registration Amendment Bill 2014, spoke of the many developments in the health sector under her government. She noted the construction of the Couva Children's Hospital, the completion of the San Fernando Teaching Hospital and the Scarborough General Hospital, and the proposals for the Arima and Point Fortin hospitals.
Yes, the hardware is important. The construction projects are very important, but the training is equally important. So you have to be catering at both ends. In addition, the service in the health institutions is very important. And again, from conversations throughout the length and breadth of the country, as people express their concern about healthcare, they also speak of the service that they receive when they attend an institution. That is to say, when they go to the hospital or the health center, in some places, in some instances, I'm not saying this happens everywhere or with everyone, but they complain of the way in which they're treated. And they say, you're really ill. When you go there, you're really ill, and you get rough up. That's how they put it in common language, and people are very unhappy about that. And so I've tasked the Minister, I've mandated Minister of Health, that we must do something to improve the way in which our medical personnel, health personnel, treat with the general public.
The Honourable Prime Minister stressed that construction, personnel and service were the focus of a government when it comes to the health sector.
Since the provisions to which they refer are not contained in the proposed law that is being debated, the first concern they raised was that a person would train as a nurse and then be admitted to practice as a nurse in a hospital or health institution without taking a licensing exam.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister met with a number of student nurses on her way to the debate in the Parliament. She used the opportunity while delivering her contribution to address the issues they raised with her relating to 2 shortcomings that were assumed to be in the new legislation. The Honourable Prime Minister then raised the second issue that was thought to lower the standard of nursing in Trinidad and Tobago.
A person will have 1 CXC and a passion for nursing and will be able to enter training into nurse. Ministers also advised that that is not the case, and indeed I've just perused the bill and the proposed amendments, and there is no provision for a person to enter into the profession or for training as a nurse with 1 CXC and a passion for nursing.
The Honourable Prime Minister said while there is a lot to do in the health sector, her government will continue to do all it can to improve the sector for the benefit of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Meanwhile, nurses across Trinidad and Tobago are expected to derive several benefits if the Nurses and Midwives Registration Amendment Bill 2014 is passed. The bill comes alongside a number of advancements made by the Ministry of Health to move the health sector forward.
The government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is seeking to make several significant changes to the functions of the Nursing Council of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the professional status of nurses in this country. On Friday, the debate on the Nurses and Midwives Registration Amendment Bill 2014 continued in the lower house. The debate took place before several student nurses who were seated in the gallery and who would directly benefit from the amended bill. Minister of Health, Dr. the Honourable Fuad Khan, put the bill in context, explaining that it would address a number of current shortfalls when it came to the administration of nurses.
This bill starts off by developing what we call the nursing turn, and I'll go into it in a while. It also develops a movement towards what we call the male midwives, which is not at all present. It also has, after that, the advanced practice nurse. The advanced practice nurse is a senior nurse. Right as we speak now, and in our country, the district health visitor is one of the most experienced nurses that they have. and all different departments and all different, as I say, specializations of nursing. However, the district health visitor is stuck at that point and cannot go any higher from district health visitor. You have the specialist nurses who are the ICU nurses. You have these nurses who are psychiatric nurses. You have the nurses who have specialized in various areas. However, Trinidad and Tobago for a very long time has not embarked upon that level of specialization.
The Honourable Minister went on to further explain what would be the roles, responsibilities and expectations of an advanced practice nurse.
What is an advanced practice nurse? Advanced practice nurse is a nurse who has done the RN, has a lot of experience, and has now gone on to be something similar to a medical practitioner. A medical practitioner does what? Examines, takes a history, examines patients, and even prescribes medication. The advanced practice nurse will be in a certain controlled environment doing the same thing together with controls and regulations as per the Nursing Council. However, to reach that level, you'll need a specific amount of training in different disciplines.
In giving his contribution in the lower house, Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Dr. the Honourable Surajratan Rambichan, noted the important role of the El Dorado Nursing Academy.
What happened is that the government of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honourable Prime Minister and Minister Fazal Karim, the Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training, like we say, TEST, saw great potential in utilizing the existing but dilapidated and underutilized El Dorado Girls Youth Camp to house this facility. And it was upgraded, renovations took place and what have you. And the academy was created with 13 fully equipped classrooms, 2 state-of-the-art nursing simulation labs, one for midwifery and one for general nursing, 2 multi-science labs, 1 anatomy and physiology lab, and 1 computer lab. And of course, there's going to be a phase 2, which will see the expansion of building space and other teaching and learning amenities.
Minister Rambichan noted thus far 1,200 students have been enrolled, 800 in general nursing and 400 in psychiatric nursing. He went on to explain that the University of the West Indies is migrating a number of its programs to the facility, including its pre-registration BSc Nursing, post-registration BSc Nursing with specialization in areas such as administration, education, oncology and school nursing, and the MSc in advanced nursing. Meanwhile, over the next year, COSTAT would be offering programs in midwifery, district health visitation and medical assistant. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
News 4 continues right after the break. Stay with us. The Trinidad and Tobago Target Archery Federation hosted its 2014 Indoor Championship on Sunday. In what I would call a twist of fate, News 4 Sports was at the Chaguanas Indoor Arena for the highly competitive event, and we have more in this Wayne Cunningham report.
The top shooters converge on the Chaguanas Indoor Arena with bows and arrows for the National Indoor Archery Championship on Sunday. Clubs from throughout Trinidad contested the championship in various divisions with recurved and compound bows. The men's compound masters was one of the most highly contested events. Selwyn Jagasa and Dexter Lalai reached the final of this division, which was eventually won by Lalai. Howard Rooks took 3rd place. In the recurved men's masters, Colvin Chin edged out Richard Dick for the top prize. On the women's side of the draw, it was also close between Patricia Price and Eunice Dick. Dick eventually took that contest. The women's Open Compound Divisional Finals started off neck and neck with Nela Cesare and Samantha Jagasa matching shots. But Cesare began to pull away as the contest progressed. The Points Archery Club athlete eventually prevailed to take the gold, with Jagasa in second and Kyla Mohammed in third. Hazmat Ali was the winner of the men's compound, while in the recurve, Mahindra Lalu took on Dean Wilkins for the gold. After some tight measurements, it was Wilkins coming out on top. The tournament champions in each division mirrored the medal round, with Nazmeen Rupnarain cupping the women's recurve. Dean Wilkins won amongst the men. In the women's compound, Nela Cesare was the tournament champ. Hazmat Ali took the male compound division. While Colvin Chin was the master of the masters male recurve. Dexter Lalai was the compound champion. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
When we come back, the dangerous dog bill and a bit of Phase 2 Pangrove. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Amendment to the Dangerous Dogs Bill saw its passage in the lower house on Friday. Changes made sought to define dangerous dogs according to international dog kennel standards.
The Dangerous Dog Amendment Bill 2014 was passed in the lower house on Friday. The bill seeks to provide for the control of dogs and to regulate the breed of dogs, as well as the conditions kept by their owners or keepers. The bill was previously passed in the lower and upper house last year. However, current amendments late in the House sought to clarify the definition of dangerous dogs. Minister of the People and Social Development, as well as veterinarian surgeon Dr. Glenn Ramadar Singh, explained the changes that include the expansion from 4 breeds of dog to 6.
In the collective professional experience and knowledge that we have been exposed to, that the expansion of the schedule from 4 dogs to 6 dogs is really not an expansion at all. It is merely the tightening up of the definition of 1 dog. And that is the dog that is fingered as the culprit in circumstances where several of our children and the elderly have been mauled and killed. The Dog Control Act keeps 3 of the original 4 breeds of dogs that were originally listed in the Act of 2003. The government does not intend to remove the Fila Brasileiro and the Japanese Tosa or the Dogo Argentino, since it is of the view that the reasons for the inclusion of these dogs were well ventilated and agreed to by the virtue of the passage of the Dog Control Bill 2013 in this Parliament, and the reasoning is still valid.
Changes to the bill include defining what is a pit bull, which the minister says is in accordance to international and recognized kennel clubs.
While the meaning of the term pit bull may be an elusive one, the meaning of the term American Pit Bull Terrier, they are not elusive terms at all. All of the aforementioned terms, Mr. Speaker, refer to clearly defined breeds of dogs, which can be definitively ascertained by reference to what is known as a breed standard. Mr. Speaker, a breed standard in animal husbandry is a set of guidelines which is used to ensure that animals produced by a breeder or breeding facility conform to the specificities of that breed. Breed standards are devised by breed association or breed clubs, not by individuals, and are written to reflect the use and purpose of the species and the breed of the animal. Breed standards help define the ideal animal and provide goals for breeders for improving their stock.
The minister says changes aim to secure members of the public, as too many incidents of attacks have ended fatally. He adds while the bill seeks to tackle the deed and not the breed by addressing bad breeding and poor ownership, special emphasis is placed on the pit bull because of statistics and testing results showing the severity of the assault coming from this particular breed.
We are using the specified standards used by the kennel clubs. Mr. Speaker, the pit bull, as I said, was built for brawn and not necessarily brain. It was bred to fight. Its speed, tenacity, together with the strength of its bite, makes it inherently dangerous. In the 1980s, it became a symbol of criminal masculinity. On average, it exerts 320 psi's, pounds per square inch of force in a bite. Recently, Mr. Speaker, the National Geographic tested the biting power of 3 breeds, the Rottweiler, the German Shepherd, and the Pit Bull. Before starting, the person testing the dogs commented that the Pit Bull was made to bite. It has a powerful jaw and head. In that test, Mr. Speaker, the Rottweiler had the strongest bite. However, the general consensus is that because of its speed...
The bill was passed by a majority but 23 in government's favour. Kimberly Calawan, News 4.
Well, many of us are still, recuperating from this weekend's Panorama semi-finals. But how many of us have the opportunity to actually see the PAN's pre-Panorama semi-finals? Well, Kimberly Ramkalawan was at the Pan Yard. We're talking about Petrotrin's Phase 2 Pan Groove, and they performed at this year's Panorama semi-finals with its main track, Jump High, being featured and a hit with patrons attending. Now, the Pan side, which won last year's Panorama title, will be vying to retain the championship in 2014.
It's Carnival and Panorama finals are nearing. That means a lot of practice and long hours for these players of the Petrotrin Phase 2 Pan Groove 2013 national champs. Winner of many national Panorama titles, the Pan side did not fail to attract an enthusiastic crowd at its Woodbrook base during one of its rehearsals ahead of the weekend's Panorama semi-finals. The band, which recently returned from a trip to Nigeria's Abuja Carnival, was formed in 1972 by a group of 6 innovative musicians led by composer and legendary panist Len Bugsy Sharp. In its over 4-decade-long existence, the Woodbrook Steel Orchestra has won 6 national Panorama titles, each time playing original music composed by Sharp. Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine, together with Petrotrin President Khalid Hassan Ali, visited the Pan side and took in an airful of the sweet sound of Pan, along with patrons gathered swaying their heads to the tune. Phase 2 Pan Group performed original music composed by Bugsy, titled Jump High, at the Panorama semis this year. Kimberly Calawan, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 Report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Thank you for joining us.